Hey, what's up, folks? Well, hope everyone's having a good Sunday. It's been a little while. Definitely been taking it easy on the streaming lately. I know haven't been too active here, but it's mostly work. Been pretty busy and just not playing a ton of Magic. Though I did get kind of back into it over the past week a little bit, and so I've made some changes to the standard Goblins list. Did a Cyber God update for this list here for the Patreon. So if you want to check that out, you can go to the description. I basically felt like I was over metagaming. I was losing. I was like going like 50-50 a lot. I was struggling to win like a lot of game threes. And I feel like I was just like a little bit short a lot of the time. So I feel like I was like medium against too many decks, if that makes sense. I was Junding, where you're kind of slightly unfavored against everybody. And so this list is a much more straightforward kind of sideboard plan against a lot of decks. This is Delver. Got a more robust graveyard suite. 4 graveyard hate cards instead of 3. Got a Chain Whirler in the main. We're facing a lot of elves. Cut Chalice, because Chalice just, once again, sucks. It went from good to suck very suddenly. It felt like as soon as people put Ancient Grudge in their Delver decks, or extra shatters, whatever it may be, it just gets so much worse. Third Pile Driver, because I want to actually clock people, and I like having a lower density of 3-drops. Lets the deck be a little less clunky. To own this league right now, so I'm probably going to finish this Legacy League and then play some Vintage. Round 1 was like a weird Snoko build that had like main deck him and then also Field of the Dead, and they died to... I don't know, that was differently. This was Cloud Post, and then this was for... I guess it was more like 3-color loam. I think it was like Bug Loam. I didn't see Night all match. And it seemed fairly heavy on the blue cards, like multiple Okos and Leovold. Beat a turn 2 Oko on the play, and it stayed in play for like 6 or 7 turns, plus a loam lock. I was pretty surprised I won that game. Skirk Prospector pulled weight. Oh, excuse me. Ming Empire, thanks for the tier 1 sub. Thanks for being here. See you at the top of the leaderboard, and every time I get on Mana Traders, I don't play in the Mana Trader series, so you might be... Oh, an MTGO. Okay. I just saw MT, I didn't see the GO. Okay. Thank you. 12 trophies this season is definitely above average for me. Not quite near the top anymore, but I haven't gotten a trophy since like December, early December. That's right, though. I'm not too worried about it. Oh yeah, I totally forgot. We have a Stronghold in our deck now. This hand sucks, though. Literally 0 castables. I cut the third port for it. because this card kind of boosts your mid to late game consistency. You get control over your top decks. I just really like it. Jeez. All right. Rough to have a forced multi-5 like this. The 7 and the 6 were not remotely considerable. Okay, so Trop Go, says Delver to me. Prospector's alright. Alright. Please don't stifle me. I'm actually going to lead in the Lackey here. Because this doesn't cast Bolt. It could also be a combo deck. Yeah. Thinking if I play a Vial, I can't play, and this gets countered, I can't play both my 1-drops next turn. It's just a function of MTG you bought. I'm not sure you can do it without streaming. It doesn't work all the time. This is Coatl. Okay. Or Decay, maybe. Okay, that's fine. That was a good draw. I'm gonna port here. It's not bad. The chances they have swords. Oh, they conceded. Whew. Nice. Alright, so Snoko. 3 Elemental Blasts. Caracas over a Wasteland. And we'll cut Chain Whirler, Gem Palm, Expert. Oh, and 1 Prospector for a Bolt. Not really interested in Relic anymore. Could leave an Expert. 3-3 split with Wasteland Port. I think Wasteland's too important against the land space strategies to cut. Oh, I gotta cut. It's between War Marshal and Expert. I think I'll go Expert. Yeah, I just think Wasteland's too good. I'm gonna keep this. It's risky for sure, but if you draw red sources, it's pretty strong. And if it's if the Vial gets forced, it's kind of rough, but we can just draw red sources and be fine. Okay, step 1, cool. This could just be decay. Yeah. Nice. Plague, sure. Plague's the reason to play the pile driver there instead of Lackey, but oh, no, I wanted to play fuck. 100% should have played pile driver there. That was just a silly mistake. Definitely could get punished for that big time. Okay. Okay. Can technically get out of it with a bolt, but I don't even have a red source yet, so. Very skill-based games. Kept a risky hand for sure, but I think it's fine. Maybe I want Gen Palm in my deck if they're playing Meddling Mage. Probably a reasonable call. We saw multiple plagues, so shaving War Marshal is fine. This hand's very medium. Plays a long game well, though. That was a good draw. They don't really have any irrelevant 2-drops, so porting them on turn 2 doesn't actually do anything. this Containment Priest, I'll be sad. It's annoying. So Gem Palm's the best, is the better card here, but Crater Maker would handle a plague if that were to happen, but I'm gonna get Gem Palm. It's like reasonably risky to do that though. But the fact that I can Gem Palm around a removal spell, that's what makes it appealing. Okay. Ooh, Brainstorm locked, huh? Okay. Hi, Infinity. Thanks for the 6 months. Prime. Thanks so much. Alexander Weber, MTG, thanks for the follow. Bolt's a pretty good pickup, actually. Ludwig. There's another Brainstorm locked. Lackey. Okay. Not the best Muxus ever, but that's fine. You opened a Muxus and Jumpstart Bach? That's awesome. Nice. Uh-huh. I wanted to get a Jumpstart box, but I never actually did because they were really expensive. 110 is really good. Nice. All right, so the slower hand definitely panned out. They got stuck on mana. They brainstorm locked, and the port plus threat of wasteland got him pretty good. Decently fun, but some of the decks are stupidly underpowered. Muxus seems like a pretty... Is Muxus a rare or a mythic? I actually got my paper copy of Muxus recently. I'm waiting for the other one in the mail still, but it's a rare? Jesus. Yeah. Card seems really unfair and limited. It's unfair kind of everywhere, but... Oh, because decks are pre-con. Okay. I'm not sure I understand. $110 fixed decks that packs can be. Huh. Yeah, see, MTG bot thinks I'm 1-0, which is not accurate. They mulligan to 6. I'm also gonna mulligan to 6, I think. Okay. It's a risky hand, but they're on 5. They're less likely to have Force of Will. This could also just be a combo deck, but... Oh, we're having that kind of fun. That is really weird. Alright, well, we have a huge sideboard for this matchup, so... Hey, Paintball Demon. Alright, so they've got normal stuff, normal stuff, normal stuff. Yeah, it looks pretty stocked. Stock? Alright, my break trap. These. This. These. Per stream to watch after getting the deck. Gotta pay extra attention now. How does Pyrokinesis stop the combo? It only works if you have a way to pop bridge from below. So whether that's a sack outlet or a Mutations Expert or, you know, basically those two things. So a way to kill your own creature. You Pyrokinesis with the last Narcomoeba on the stack. Do I want Bolt? It's a little faster than Expert, though. Expert can do it to itself. So yeah, if you kill all the if you kill the stuff in response to the last Narcomoeba, this hand is too slow. This hand is a Leyline. I mean, I'm gonna keep and hope they don't have answers to Leyline because they're blindly sideboarding. Kept 7, that's spooky. Alright, and at the bottom, the mountain. Okay, cool. Interesting. We're on game 3. There have been 2 turns. 2 turns of the game. Very cool. Interesting. Yeah, fun, interactive, interesting games. It's not quite how. Uh, they still don't know what I'm on. It's funny how true how that's true. I keep not finishing my sentence with the pyrokinesis. See, pyrokinesis is the last narcomoeba on the stack, and then they can't cast over turn if you can pop the zombies. Holy shit! Chase with the big raid. How's it going? How'd your challenge run go? We're playing against new spells. 3-0 in this league. Probably about to be 3-1. They kept 7. That's terrifying. Alright, we found a ley line. 3-3, not great, not awful. Okay. Alright, mulligan to 4. So we want. I think it's between either of these two. Muxus is higher upside if we draw Lackey. I think I play to that. It's really Nature's Claim. I don't really want to draw the cards I put on the bottom of my deck, so. No, okay. So you're saying there's a chance. Okay, so now we're a Skirt Prospector away from winning. Or 2 lands. Or Expert. Expert works too, yep. Sucks. Oh, hey, Nathan. On your grandmother has a Twitch account? That's pretty funny. Guess I have all our other hate to draw towards. Imprint Pact. Okay. Lackey, Skirk. Does second Pyro do it? I don't think so. Yeah, 4th mana will do it for sure. Oh, come on. My name's Mindbreak Trap or Surgical. That sucks. I feel like we were very likely to get there. Does second Pyro do it? I don't think it does. Could do it against the other spy. Why? So if I had... You can kill 2 zombies. Oh, sure. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so actually playing the Pashlik may have killed me. Okay. Wow. Alright. Well, we weren't going to get there for a while anyway. It's fine. Yeah. Kill 2 creatures, kill 2 zombies, and then they have 2 creatures. Because they only had... Because if it drew an Archemy, but yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think I should have just waited then. Because playing the Pashlik didn't do anything. Like, the Sling Gang alone would do it. I don't need the Pashlik. Okay, so 2 Pyrokineses will beat them if they draw a Narcomoeba or if they have Undercity Informer. That's good. That's good info to have. Sorry, people coming from Chase's stream, you must be used to like way more meme music. I try to upload my stuff onto YouTube, so I generally don't play music on my stream. It also just distracts me a little bit too much. Though I was listening to Big Iron, but alphabetical recently. Big. I fucking love Big Iron. It's so funny. Big bodies. Iron. Hip. Alright, even though I have Stronghold in my hand, I'm gonna fetch Mountain first, because that's just like the way safer plan, and I'll eventually draw Black Source for this if it's relevant in the matchup. Could go ham and play turn 2 War Chief, turn 3 Sling Gang. Planes? Okay, not doing that. Creative Maker's a good draw. I'm not going to play it into the Plow mana, and I think I'm going to play out the Stronghold, because if they wasteland that, then I keep my Cavern around, and I'd rather keep the Cavern around. So Stronghold would be way better as a port right here, worth saying. Interesting. Yeah, Stronghold's awesome. Pog. Infinite Crater Makers. Examples of Stronghold being gas. So far, I've gotten to recur Jump Palm against Delver, and also recurred Sling Gang that same game. It's like Stronghold plus Jump Palm is like a 5 mana uncounterable terminate draw card every turn. Do I just sack this? I don't think my life total is that relevant, and I could want to draw War Chief. If I die at 2 life, or if I die because I don't have 2 life, so be it. This kind of feels like they're gonna like Skyclave here. Recruiter, sure. Also, if we just like draw Muxus, we can just cast it next turn. Skyclave. Powders. Definitely on the weekend. Are you supposed to leave Vial on 2? This probably doesn't. Nah. If I drew a Matron, I'd be really, really sad. Because then I would just Muxus them. Gotta pay black. So these aren't really the exciting of cards against TNT, but we should be fine. That's a good card versus Death and Taxes. All right. Is this good? Please explain. Yeah, now they have to kill Prospector. Thalia. Okay. On a cycle board to cast Muxus. Seems very unnecessary. Flicker Recruiter. Do I care about that? How much mana do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11 with the War Marshal. Yeah, I don't think a creature in their hand matters. I could cast Muxus and then stack War Chief on top of my deck. How sick is that? It's probably unnecessary though. Okay, so if I do stack the War Chief top, then I stack this, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a little too resource intensive. Wait, are they dead? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not dead. Oh my god. Alright, well, goodbye, board. Good night, moon. Seven. Yeah, more than enough. Alright. Ringleader draw 4 into Muxus hitting expert plus chain whirlers. Pretty nuts. I get to decide on all these amazing cards. Pretty straightforward sideboarding, just sideboard into full control, basically. Three Pyrokinesis. Chill, yes, thanks for the follow. Cut Lackey, yeah, on the draw against Death and Taxes, it's like pretty inconsistent, and the games go long, so you don't want to top deck them. It's just like about, like, Lackey can be good, but like more than half the time it's gonna be like a no attacks, no blocks creature, and it's gonna Krokusen. Nah. I already have one. Don't want to draw multiples of legendary land in this matchup, and like I want wastelands for their ports and stuff. Okay, this hand is good. It's a little mana light, but we have a vial, and we can needle like Mom. So Pyrokinesis is just like the nuts. So okay, drawing lands great. It's probably Pyrokinesis pitching War Chief this game. Okay, classic turn 2 vial. Now, if they have a Skyclave for my vial here, I'll be a little sad, but then I might just like needle their vial. Sure. Probably killing the Stoneforge here. Like either 3-drop into Expert, because sort of Fire Nice makes sense. Crocus. Um, it's interesting. Like I want Pashlik in play with the Caracas up. I guess they have a Wastelands, like it's not that good. I could just be patient. Save this expert from mom. Yeah, take it slow. Okay, so I'm gonna name not Mother Rune's Sword of Fire Knights. The problem with going Pashlik Expert is that then the Pashlik's exposed without the Caracas, and if I go War Chief, second Stoneforge, Charming Prince, Scry 2. Okay. Then I don't have a. It's like a matter of pitch cards, right? Bottom. All right. Okay, so they're looking for lands. What this says to me. I suspect if I'm able to Creator Maker the Vial, I will win. Okay. I guess Lackey's getting pitched now. Gabe Interactive, thanks for the follow. There's a sword. Okay. I might try to flicker my needle. Let me blow him out. Okay. Um, So if I plow here, I pick up the Pashlik, deal 1, Pyrokinesis. Deal 1. Then can't kill everything, so I think I'll kill Skyclave, I guess. It's gonna get more equipment if they have flickers, though. I also don't want them flickering Skyclave. Okay, I was gonna say a 3. Kinda need a shatter here, or removal spell. Nice. Just go ham here. Down on the Caracas, but they can wasteland it anyway, so. That's maybe premature, actually. Nah, because if they have a Flicker Wisp, now they just get the sword online. But the 4th line doesn't really matter, because then it's still going to go 3-drop, equip, 3-drop, or equip, kill. I have to kill the Stoneforge. Then it's a force play regardless. What is this? Cataclysm? Okay. Alright, I will choose keep Pashalik, Badlands file. Fuck. Alright, we're gonna matron for Trash Master. Losing your own Sword of Fire next to Cataclysm cannot feel good. I guess I can just get Sling Gang and they die. Their friends, sure. So I need Flicker or Skyclave right here. Cool. All right. Got the 4-1. Lost to Oops, but I feel like we were actually very in that game 3. Just drew a few too many bricks there. Pyrokinesis is a really good card. That's my lesson of the day. I actually even punted game 3 against Oops. I just didn't realize that I could have used double pyrokinesis to beat the combo. Because they drew an Archimedes. We cracking chests? Let's crack chests. Generous gift. Avatar of Might. Alright, not the best. Force negation. Caged Sun. Praying Omnipotence. Alright, not good so far. This was money for a hot second. I don't think it is anymore. Jeweled Lotus Treasure. Last one. Oh my god. Speria. 35 play points. Alright. Well, I am drowning in play points, but more money to use on Masters drafts when those happen. Alright. Nice 3 rounds of Legacy. So beat Cloudpost and Loam off of stream. Beat Snoko, lost to Oops, beat D&T. That's been today. Let's do some Vintage. Those who don't know, I've been experimenting quite a bit with Vintage Goblins lately. Deck is super fun. You just play Goblin Recruiter. It's almost an all-out combo deck in a lot of ways, but you have a lot of resilience thanks to the inherent durability of Recruiter. You're only really limited by your mana, so you can beat a lot of interaction. And then the card advantage that Snoop itself provides in this build. It's easier to draw cards off of Snoop than in Legacy, I think, because your curve is a lot lower and you're happier to cast a lot of these cards at any time. And you have a lot more mana acceleration, right? We've got 7 Moxes and then 3 Skirk Prospector. And a Spirit Guide. And we've got the thing I've been messing around lately is putting in Demonic Tuner and Vamp Tutor. Both have been very strong. Vamp more than Demonic, because it's pretty cool that if you have Vamp and you just have a Snoop in play, you can just cast Vamp on your opponent's end step and just put Kiki on top of your deck, and they die on their end step. Chromox better than Lotus Petal? Yes. Lotus Petal sucks. The Simian Spirit Guy was originally a Lotus Petal. But I have no rods in my sideboard. I've become a long-haired Goblin Slayer. Yeah, I haven't gotten a haircut since like April. Yeah, this deck could very easily be budget, right? I think if you're gonna play budget, so you cut these are the 3 like budgeting cards. You add like a Spirit Guide, and then like maybe you have to play 2 Petals because you need black sources. Oh right, Petals restricted. So you play a Petal and maybe like a 4th Prospector. Prospector's pretty good. Instant Q, nice. So I played a league of this last night. I just went 3-2, lost to Doomsday and Storm, but the games were really close. Okay, this hand's quite good. Turn 1 Cavern Lackey, turn 2 Thorn, drop Recruiter, most likely. Hopefully my opponent doesn't do something extremely silly on turn 1. This is Vintage. It's part and parcel of the format. Okay, Volcanic Island. Ancestral. Okay. Discard hand size. Cool. Not the best ancestral. Okay, so we're gonna get Badlands, and I'm gonna play Thorn, see what happens. Resolves after the Escort Force negation. Pog. Alright, so we just go for the smallest pile here. Torch Courier, Snoop, Jiki, because we have the Thorn, and if they wasteland me, then I just put in Snoop off of the Lackey and cast Prospector, and then can go off. Let's put another Recruiter underneath, just in case. Alright, so Recruiter on the bottom, then Kiki, then Courier, then Snoop. Nice. Alright, so this is looking like Jeskai Xerox to me. So we want these for sure. I think that's all I'm really going to sideboard. I think Leyline has text, but like it stops Arcanist and stops Mystic Sanctuary, and like the Delve spells, which can be good, but there's a real cost of putting all this in your deck. I tend to shave a Chrome Mox because of Dak, and also I just want more grindy cards. I think shave a Lackey on the draw here. This may be wrong. Okay, this hand's bad against a Wasteland, but like I don't think you're allowed to mulligan this. Like we force him to have the answer to Lackey, and we also force him to have the answer to Snoop, and then we have Recruiter as additional redundancy. So like turn 1 Dread Horde, then it could be a problem though. Kind of is what it looks like. Okay, not that. Cool. Gotta be wary, Xerox does play Tabernacle. Okay, top, bottom, Needle. Death Ray, okay. Okay, so it's 4 color. Expert's very good. There's no argument to not even cavern out the Lackey. If I had a basic, I probably wouldn't. That's like bad against Wasteland either way. This is just like worse, but not by enough that I want to change my play. Okay, no Wasteland. That's cool. Ren and 6 would suck. Ren and 6 would suck big time. Okay. Bottom, bottom. Okay. Fuck you, Ren and 6. Had the answer to Death Ray. Oh, drawing Kiki Jiki is sad. Prospector on top, okay. Well, now they need to kill the Snoop. If they kill the Snoop, then we go Skirk plus Recruiter. Kill Deathrite? Or Skirk plus Expert, rather. Dak, okay. Play Tarmogoyf, please. Um, this could be like Assassin's Trophy, misstep. Uh, sure. All right, so they need like Fatal Push or something. The last card. And I'll put another couple Snoops on the bottom, underneath the Kiki. So I can't combo anymore. I could lose my Snoop here. So do I actually want that? I don't know if it matters. I think we got him. They could kill Recruiter at the end of this, but then they still have to find another removal spell, because then I can just upkeep, do it again, and then put Recruiter again for Slinging. Nice. All right. That was a good win. Game one was pretty funny. They discard Fluster, Force Negation to to hand size, and then I play a Thorn. I mean, it makes sense to discard Thorn or Fawn right there, right? I have a Cavern in play. I have a Cavern Lackey in play. There's just like so few targets for Fawn right there. There's like 3 punishes in my entire deck for that. Like, I guess maybe it would Fawn like a Vamp. They might not think I have Vamp in my deck though. I thought we beat turn 1 Deathrite, turn 2 Renin 6, turn 3 Dak on the draw as Goblins with a Lackey start. That's the thing. It's like we had the answer for the Deathrite, but we never actually used it because the game was just about something else, you know? Which is a breath of fresh air compared to how in Legacy every game with Deathrite became about Deathrite. It's all about the Deathrite war. But with this deck and Vintage, just like you can just go over the top with the combo so easily. All right, on the draw here. I wish I was on the play, but hand's really risky. But I think I'm gonna keep it. Hold a 5. Okay, feels like bizarre. Feels bizarre, man. Mm-hmm. Slacky is definitely not going to get there. It's Vengevine, bizarre, presumably. Okay, 1 Basking Root Walla. Hopefully it's not a hollow one as well. Moxjet. Deathrite or Citrus Supplier. Jeez. Alright, well. Getting Not drawn a little. Just a little. Okay, that was a good draw. That was genuinely a good draw. Okay. So we imprint I guess the lackey. The lackey is never getting in. Yeah, vintage Gaak is definitely a thing. Oh, that's such a gross top deck. Oh, that's such a gross top deck. Alright, we might be a turn slow here. Unless I have Recruiter on top of my deck. Because I take 4 down to 12. Sling guy. Does that keep me alive? Nah. 1, 2. Maybe I'm alive. I don't think I am, but maybe. So I block here. Block. Actually, activating Root Wall is probably what kills me. Okay. Okay, so block here, take 1, 2, 3, 4. Exactsies? I'm drawing Badlands. 2. I'm 1 short of going for a Lotus. So I could like block Bloodghast, but then I can't win. Play DT for Snoop is too slow. Yeah. I'm dead. Axes. Very close. Alright. Lackey's really bad against this deck. Trashmaster kills hollow ones, which is pretty cool. Shaping a Chromox instantly against Force of Vigor, Chalice, Thorn, Missteps. Okay. I don't know if I actually won my deck though. I'm gonna go without. If only Force of Vigor didn't exist. This hand's pretty rancid. That really sucks that if I had 1 land in that keep, in that 7. This is vintage. I'm not playing 61 vintage. The range of cards that matter in vintage is very small. So I would never play 61 in vintage. It's totally different approach. think I'm going to 5. I still think this hand can do anything. Like, Strip Mine, the 1 Bazaar is like pretty unlikely to work against this version, especially. And I don't think I'm allowed to keep that 7. Double Leyline, no lands. Like, obviously, if you spike a mana source, it's very good, but just seems like a losing line. Like, there's so many better 6s. Like, most Snoop combo 6s will be better. This deck is really bad at interacting with the Snoop combo. So I think I just want to have a... On the play here, I want to have like a fast combo, and then game 3, I'll look for Leyline pretty aggressively. Like, if this hand, if I knew the top card of my deck was Recruiter, I would keep this hand. But obviously it's not happening. Opponent. What you thinking about? Maybe they have a dicey 7. I'm pretty happy not having any of these cards in my deck. Maybe the exception is Chalice. Because Chalice is pretty good against Deathrite and Stitcher Supplier. Hmm. Opponent, come back. Come back so we can play a game. Oops. Kind of feels like my opponent is connected. Yeah. All right. Well, here we are. Not the most exciting content. Sorry. I'd like to at least look at my 5. I wish I could just keep mulliganing while they're gone. How's it going, chat? How have you all been? Hope you're enjoying. Oh, they're back. Don't tell me about your day now. Please say angry things about Oko and Uro. Man, fuck those cards. It's really like I think the bands that would fix the gameplay of Legacy the most would be Oko and Arcanist. Arcanist is just so fucked up, and it's just so stupid to see it just appear in so many archetypes where it just does not belong just because it's so good. It's really irritating. All right, they mulligan to 6. I'll mulligan to 5. Okay, I guess. How am I playing this? This is gonna be tricky. Alright, so we definitely ditching Vamp. Oh god, this is so awkward. This is so awkward. Because I want to go turn 1, Mox, Jet, Needle. But I can't do that and still have a card for the Lackey. Right, because Mox and Print Lackey cast Lackey. So I need these 3, and then I need these 2. So I could roll the dice. That seems very unlikely to work. I think I really want Needle for Bazaar. I could toss back. Man, I really want the Vamp. Bottom Camp, bottom Vamp, and Lackey. Jet Needle Pass. Nah. I think I'm just gonna go for like I will draw something with to do with the Lackey. That's my that's gonna be my strategy. Keep maximum mana. Feels bad, man. Recruiter, probably best draw. Snoop. Alright. Alright, well, if we draw red source. Mox Jet. Red, classic combo. Okay. Sure. Ooh. Okay. Okay. So we want to draw Skirk. Actually, do I just want to draw Munitions Expert? Might be better. Draw Expert, then Skirk. Then Courier and Kiki. No, not Lexus. Kiki. Recruiter. I think that makes sense. Is that a true hero? Thanks for the follow. What is this? A hardcasting Force of Vigor. Hardcast Vengevine. Okay, I can expert Vengevine. Grisholbrander, thanks for the follow as well. I think they're dead. As long as I didn't count wrong. Okay, so this, cast this, cast this. Pog. Let's go. Taglia, thanks for the follow as well. All right. That was sick. All right. Misstep is looking a little more appealing. Shape of Muxus. Sure. Yes. I don't know what we're going to do with this Lotus yet. Okay. Happy those cards are in exile. Plier? Death Ray. Okay. I might not play. I could go Pashlik Mons plus Bog Fanatic. kill Death Ray. Death Ray doesn't do anything right now though, so I kind of just want to play my Fanatic and hold the Lotus. Interesting. Okay. Or is my meta so responsive? I don't know. Oh, Recruiter on top, okay. Clearly should have matroned for Skirk. Okay. Second Snoop incoming. Fine, Dryad Arbor down, okay. Once upon a time, okay. Tab. Sure. Okay. So Matron can die. Pay for Fnatic. That's probably necessary. Okay. Kind of punished. Fetch line on top, sure. But like, what exactly are they gonna do? It's funny seeing Tabernacle in this deck. Like, that just looks wrong. Alright, that's a lot of... That's all 4 Vengevines. Alright, no longer paying for Mog Fnatic. Shoot ya. Slinking. Don't want to draw you. Not yet, anyway. Nice. All right. GG's. All right, I'm gonna run to the bathroom, everyone. I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right. Back to vintage. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Wow, these queues have been ridiculously quick for vintage. There's only 200 active players. What the hell? Last seen on Breach. I don't love this hand. What I foresee happening is like playing Snoop on turn 2 off of the Skirk, and then Moto. And then they force it, and then I'm like kind of screwed. Guess I'm not screwed. We have 2 Snoops. Alright, we'll try it. I'm not convinced it's good. But I guess turn 2 Snoop plus Strip Mine can be good. I don't know if I actually will Strip Mine them. That's the thing. It's like the Strip Mine looks pretty bad. Cavern? Okay, at least drill land. Alright, that's good. Who said something about Moto being responsive? It's now immediately slow. Okay, fetch on top. Good to know. You gotta be mindful this is a brain freeze deck. If they are on Breach. Be a bolt. No? Mystical Tutor. Alright. Feels like I'm dead if they're casting Mystical Tutor. Ancestral? Okay, maybe not. Not dead. Cool. Oh. Snoop's dead. That's fine. Just gonna strip mine them and play another one. Forest? Sure. Vamp. Okay, well, they've 2-for-1 themselves a bunch of times, but they did get to Ancestral, so. This next one for fetch, do a Recruiter. Knight's Whisper. Okay. Recouping that card advantage, or card disadvantage. Lotus, yeah. This could just be for Breach and then I die, but. Narset. Okay. Chromox. Alright, opponent. Putting you to the test. Man, Moto got real laggy in the past 10 seconds. Yeah, just a small pile. Recruiter on the bottom. I guess I'll put another Snoop on the bottom, like on top of the Recruiter. Okay, so Recruiter, Snoop, Kiki, Courier, Snoop. And I'll hit the Narset. So can't like time twister me without activating it. Okay. Box. That's a little scary because I feel like they were looking for a red source. Okay, never mind. So if they have, I guess if they have Underworld Breach plus Brain Freeze, I do die. Okay. Because they have the Lotus in the yard. Bottom, okay. Box, okay. We live in hope. God damn it. Oh, they can just Mystical Tutor. Ancestral. Brain Freeze. Okay, just have Brain Freeze. Okay, sure. Pretty close there. They found what they needed right before they died, so I'm fine with that. Alright, Mind Trap, Erg Squad, Ley Lines, Blasts, not Bolts. Okay. Trash Master doesn't really do anything. Don't need Passionate Mons. You don't really need Expert. They might play like one mentor. They might probably have one mentor. And they probably have one Null Rod? I don't know if Null Rod's actually good against Breach. I don't know that it is. It does slow them down quite a bit, I guess, from their combo. I don't know if I can afford to board in that many cards, though. I'm not trying to lock them out. I'm trying to kill them. Probably can't fit the expert. Chamardo, thanks for the follow. How do I fit all this shit? Kind of like cutting random cards because I don't have enough. Do I cut DT? Because none of my cards are worth. There's not a lot of. I think I'm actually gonna cut DT. I think Vamp's better in this deck. I realize how random the sideboarding looks. I don't know what else to do. I just want to combo as fast as possible and then also have interaction. That's like it. Or squad them. They do die if you squad them. This hand has Ley Line and Mindbreak Trap. And a mulligan. Okay, this is way better. Uh-oh. No, don't have turn 1 Mentor. Fuck off. Come on. That's some bullshit. That's some bullshit right there. Uh-huh. It's literally all restricted cards. Okay. Sure. Just have the best hand imaginable. Cool. This is vintage. It's a stupid format where stupid shit happens all the time. Ah, more. Cool. You use the cantrip too, Bonder? Sure. All right, so how many restricted cards so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Merchant Shoals restricted, right? I think it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 cards. Storm count 8. 8 restricted cards. All right. Please have all blanks, and then don't kill me somehow. Oh, and a Force of Will. Very cool. Very cool. Oh my god. That's so obscene. It's so stupid. Oh my god. Alright, well, that's best hand in history of Magic. It's definitely up there. Definitely up there in obscene hands that happen very, very rarely. Yeah, Land Lotus Mentor, then all Moxes and Cantrips, and a Force of Will. Cool. How is Vintage playable when Mentor was unrestricted? That seems like so stupid. That's just like every game. I'm trying to think if there's anything I could have done game one differently. I don't think so. They had the bolt for the first snoop, the force for the second one, and then went off on turn 4. It's kind of got to roll with the punches on Vintage, though. You know, you gotta. The expectation of the format is that absolute nonsense is gonna happen. So opponents, please. If you're new here, you can be sure to follow the channel, get some more Goblins content. Check out the YouTube channel for the VODs, and you can check out the Patreon if you exclamation point Patreon. I wrote an article this month on this deck, the vintage Goblins, talking about its development and a kind of evaluation of its place in the format. I think the way to conceptualize Goblins in Vintage would be it's mostly an anti-Bazaar deck. It's really good against the Bazaar decks, is what I've experienced. They're not very good at interacting with you with your combo, and you have ley lines, creatures to block. So you can race them in a lot of game ones. Even Dredge, the most explosive Dredge stuff, like, yeah, and you have Counter Souls, which is really good. You also have Needle. I think Fair Blue is close. I think the combo decks are pretty much coin flips for the most part. I also did Doomsday last night, but that was I punted. I forget how. It was kind of tricky. I think. Oh yeah, I played into counter magic really hard, and my Mux just got countered off at Lotus, and it just kind of cost me the game when I could have just cast a Matron, and would have been a lot safer. I just like, I don't know. I don't play against Doomsday and Vintage very often, so I don't really realize that it's actually like ludicrously permission dense. All right, this hand kind of sucks. This is back. Okay. Um, Turn on the matchup. Probably just Mox and Print Lackey, play Snoop. Mana Crypt. Uh-oh. Is this Eldrazi? Matthew Sums, thanks for the follow. Goal stacks and draws help us against Lackey. Seems so, yeah. Glow Rider. All right. Sad. All right. Just play the Lackey? Or do I play Mox this turn? I think I'm probably supposed to play Mox. Second Mox is a pretty awful draw. Okay, lost the flip. Ancient Tomb. Revoke would be annoying, but if they Revoker Chrome Mox and not Snoop, then it's kind of a win for me. Play a Thalia, please. Nice. Oof. It's a lot of Chrome Moxes. That's a lot of Chrome Moxes. UDM 96 to follow. Alright, losing mana crypt flips. Nice to see. Wastelands. Really annoying. Why not? Reality Smasher. Okay. Well, if Recruiter's on top of my deck, they die. That's cool. Fuck. Oh, man. Did not expect that to happen. Alright. Geeky cheeky. And I'll put Sling Gang to show them that it's not in my hand. Please don't make me click it. So if we didn't draw it there, we would skirk out the matron and then play it next turn. So they would actually only get one turn. We could block, go to 3. Oh, that's more than enough. Okay. Yeah, let's hit Mog Fanatic. Next, less clicking. Nice. All right, so Eldrazi. Thalia effects actually did legitimately mess up our sequencing, but got there. All right. Bolt seems great. Shattering Spree for Provokers. I want Needle. I want Null Rod. Probably not Null Rod, especially on the draw. All right, well, we can cut this, cut this, cut this. That's 59 cards. Could I Needle against them? It's like not much. Maybe I just want red Muxus for red card count. I guess they could have Walking Ballista. I think I just want red cards for Chromox. Maybe they play Plow and I'm supposed to have Misstep, but I'm not actually sure. This hand's not bad. Wasteland, go. Interesting. Huh. Very interesting. I kind of want to strip mine their Wasteland and then go Chromox and print Spirit Guide. Lackey. I think 2 Goblin Creatures are good in Legacy. Yes. Maybe this is stupid. I don't know. Because then if they put like a Revoker, then we just Fnatic the Revoker, get him good. Interesting. Shikmons is like kind of gross in this matchup. Honestly, I think I want to draw Muxus for turn. Because I can Fnatic, can split and kill even 2 creatures or a 2 toughness creature. Okay, so the under Muxus will be Snoop. And then Skirk. And then Courier. Iki. Recruiter. 1. I'll put Creator Maker in there in case they play like a Needle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Alright, so Kiki. I guess Recruiter on the bottom. Kiki. Courier. No. Creator Maker, then Kiki, then Courier, then Skirk, then Snoop, then Muxus. Oh yeah. Mog Fanatic. Feels good, man. I think before Snoop, you could probably have unbanned Recruiter, but not anymore. Iki and Slinking. We can kill them in like 15 different ways here. I'm gonna do... I'm gonna do the fun one. I'm gonna kill them with Patch Lictures. Always yield. Save targets, you. Always yield. That's a new one. I haven't done that one yet. Infinite mana, infinite life, infinite damage. Pretty good. Nice, Thalia. Ooh, that was sick. That was sick. Recruiter made the Fnatic was so good there because like if they had oh, Mega Empire, thanks for the 300 bits. That's super awesome. Hell yeah, it was. Thanks so much. I think the card that interacted with us the best would be Containment Priest right there. And because of the Pashlik Mons, the Fnatic would kill off Priest. So they would have needed like Priest plus like Priest off a Mox plus Caracas would have been good against us there. But regardless, it's hard for things to go terribly, terribly wrong. Yeah, that was hype as fuck. Alright, let's see if we got the 4-1 Legacy. Let's see if we can get the 4-1 Vintage. Been paired. Sounds the same strip mine awkwardness as the other game. Do I think a tier 1 deck in Vintage? Probably not. But it's also like not fully developed. Oh, also this hand's awful because we have both Fnatic and Sling, so I'm gonna mulligan. I think it's quite good though. Definitely underrated. Guess I keep this. I can DT for Recruiter. If I draw a Muxus, I could like just DT for Muxus and cast it. Vamp. Huh. Interesting. I don't think I'm gonna go for the Muxus thing. It's also might get countered. Should tap differently. Bluster Storm. Yeah. Can't really play around that. Right. Okay, so now we upkeep or end of turn vamp for recruiter. Are we supposed to do it now? Gamble. Okay. Discard force negation. Okay. Ancestral. I'm gonna do this right now. No, I misclicked. That's really bad. That's really bad. Clicked on matron, I think. It's not that bad because it's matron, but it's a lot worse. We're gonna be a turn slower now. God, that's a pretty bad misclick. The moto lag got me. I was pulling my deck away and it moved it. Ha, look upon my hand of nothing. Yeah. Feels bad, man. I wanted to get recruiter. It's now just matroning for recruiter. Yeah, Vam tutor for Goblin Matron does not make a whole lot of sense. Definitely could cost us the game. The only upside of this is we get one more like actual non-recruiter draw step, so if that card's really good, then it could be good. This dig. Tinker. Oh boy. Alright, looks like it's not gonna matter. Yep. Time walk. Gross. So I need them to like brick 2 turns because of time walk, and then to like top deck Trash Master for the Bolus of Citadel. I guess we could at least get to see what the hell's going on here, because Gamble is really weird. Top. Uh-oh. I've literally never seen Gamble in Vintage. Rate a random goblin, Steve. Alright, let's get the old binder while we're sitting there. Alright. see. Ooh. How much your opponent was? Yeah. Oh, it's Breach deck. Okay. We got Volley Veteran as our random goblin. Gamble. Oh, for Brain Freeze. Okay. Volley Veteran was the Munitions Expert before Munitions Expert. 4 mana, 4/2. Enters the battlefield, deals damage to target creature equal to the number of opponent. Deals damage to target creature and opponent controls equal to the number of goblins you control. It's I tested it briefly. It's too expensive. But it was hot for a second. I played like one when Eldrazi was really popular because it trades with Thought-Knot Seer and usually blows up an Eldrazi along the way. Yeah, Cucumber Thrower. Exactly. Sweet card. All right. All right, another Breach deck. Null Red looks better against this version. So if I don't want Bolt. If I want Blasts as well for Tinker, and this, and this, and this. I don't think I can board in 11 cards. I don't think that's a thing this deck is allowed to do. But let's try. You kind of have to leave in Creator Maker so you can beat a Pithing Needle. Yeah, like you could shave on Matron because it is pretty slow. I think there's maximum 7 cards out here. Maybe you do just cut Matrons against this deck. I never cut Matrons, but I'm like crippling my own deck. But I am keeping my combo pieces for the most part. I guess Matron's combo piece, so you're shaping on that. I do want to try the Null Reds. I'll try them on the play, and then I'll swap on the draw for like more action. All right, last cut. This is the kitchen sink method. Okay, this is turn 2 uncounterable kill. None of our 5,000 sideboard cards. But we have 2 Camera Souls. So turn 2, we can Recruiter, set up a Muxus flip, put in Muxus. Don't bolt my lackey. Come on. Alright, well, now we have a turn 3 uncounterable kill. Classic Leyline. Classic. Budget for vintage? Yeah, I could talk about that. That's not that hard, I think. It plays very few reserveless cards. We want 4-1 Legacy. Mm. Lost to Oops. But I kind of punted game 3, actually, in a weird way. I didn't realize. Alright, opponent, please don't kill me. If they have another bolt, I'm pretty screwed. Because then I can't combo anymore because I have Kiki in my hand. They brain freeze me. I'm drawing Recruiter for turn if it's a brain freeze for 1. Deck only plays 2 brain freezes though. If they brain freeze me, I'll probably just put Squad. Oh, maybe I should put Matron underneath so I could Matron for Squad. Because Recruiter for Squad is riskier against the brain freeze deck. Something to think about. It's kind of spooky. I imagine it's Gamble for Lotus or something like that. They do like Tabernacle. I get slowed down exactly a turn. Skirts Force of Will. Um, this feels like bad for me. I almost never play Modern. Okay. So I'm gonna upkeep, go for the combo. I think they have something, so not terribly optimistic. Or not? It's pretty agonizing because it gives them priority back each time. So what happens if they kill my recruiter at the end of all this? I do this again my upkeep, I draw a recruiter, and then I put Sun Gang on top? Okay. That's right. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Alright, so we're getting pretty close. Just a few more times. It's 10. I want to do a little extra, but not too much. All right, 15. All right, that should be plenty. Okay. Opponent really wants to see every click. Okay, they can see it. Oh, okay. Get out of here, Nullrod. Let's get Reb and Matron back in here. Maybe they just don't play Pithy Needle and don't need the Crater Maker. I guess it's also an out to Mentor. That's somewhat unlikely to work, but it can. I think I'll do that. Let's keep it. Yeah, get some proxies. This hand's a little slow for my liking. Doesn't have any of our 5,000 sideboard cards. We've already got one Kiki, which makes Brain Freeze even more painful. I'm scared of like an early Tinker from this deck, I think. Fiora, thanks for the follow. Most vintage is like 5/10 proxy. I think. Okay. This is keepable, not exciting. But bottom of the matron. Leyline you. So I'm gonna draw mana sources, we should be fine. Grab's a good draw. Alright, so I can play the Prospector here. I don't think this deck plays Wasteland. So I'm gonna get Badlands because of the tutors. And I can still blast here if need be, which is nice. So I think my best draw is actually just a red source next turn. Because then I can snoop plus blast a counter. If they end of turn Ancestral, do I blast it? Oh. Interesting. That's a weird line. Hey, thanks, Yor. Appreciate that. Okay, so Mountain, the screams they have. Bolt. Land. Yes. Oh, thanks to the host. Goblib. Alright, so this will get bolted, and that's fine. Got a second one. Force pitch Dak. Do I fight on this? Would they really have forced if they had a bolt? And if I don't counter this, then okay, double force. Okay, that's fine. Force pitch Dak. 2 forces, 2 Daks. And we still have a recruiter and a snoop. All right. They have 2 cards. Which game? This is the last game. Blizzard King, this fall. What is this? Magus of the Moon? Lol. Oh no, my earwigs, go ahead. Another Snoop on top, okay. Oh, you... You can definitely cast the rest on you too. Okay, Brainstorm is a good card. But their fetches are turned off. I still got the previous stream to upload to YouTube. I was really frustrated with it, so I didn't upload it yet, but I will do that. Okay, Mox. They have 1 card. Tinker. Fuck. Oh. Oh, they're dead. Cool. Definitely feels like they should have gotten Bolas to Citadel. I guess they have to hit really hot to hit to win with Bolas to Citadel there. Like literally just has to be a string of zeros. All right. Kiki, Jiki, and Slingang underneath. Show that it's not in my hand. Are we the baddies? Twin situation. Is this a twin situation? I think it is. All right, that's more than enough. Bada bing. And that's more than 15. Yeah. Go for the Mog Fanatic because it's less clicking. I think Vintage is... It's tough to grind Vintage because the games can be so swingy. So if you play it too often, you do get a sense of like, oh, I lost because my opponent had Ancestral and Lotus in their opener again. Like, you know, or like what I experienced again in this league of like, you know, I have my Leyline and stuff against Breach, and then they go like turn 1 Mentor, and then not just turn 1 Mentor, but then like Mox Tutor for Recall, you know, make 7 monks on turn 1. Like they're like literally just play 8 restricted cards on turn 1. That's pretty obnoxious, and that like you have to accept that that's part of the format. And that can be like if you encounter it too much, then it's good to take a break. The games are better in the sense of like it's a nice to experience variety where it's not like you're just losing to this. Like when you lose in Legacy, it kind of feels like you're just losing to the same thing over and over again. Like you're either getting mana screwed or you're gonna die to an Oko or an Arcanist, and that's like, or a Mirror Lage, and that's like every loss in Legacy is like those things. And so Vintage is a little more, there's a lot more variety in the deck styles. Like I like that the Bazaar decks and the Shops decks and the Xerox decks are all like very, very different. See, Nathan? Whereas in Legacy, things are so hyper concentrated around the fair blue decks that it kind of feels like you're playing against sub-genres or sub-variants of the same deck over and over and over again. So the variety of Vintage, even though Vintage is kind of gate-kept by these format pillars that are workshops, Bazaar decks, and then the fair blue decks, if you have a plan for like 2 out of 3 of them, you can be reasonably successful. And if you can feel like you can, and then there's also there's the combo decks, and the combo decks are different too. Like there's Reach, which is kind of combo control, right? There's Storm, like which is a little rare, which is like what you kind of expect from like a Legacy Storm deck, just faster. I don't even know if it's that much faster. There's PO, which is like an artifact-based Storm, and then there's Oath, which no one really plays anymore. That's kind of like show and tell. And then there's Doomsday, and like the way you play against Doomsday versus the way you play against PO is quite different. So the combo decks have good variety, and then there's even sub archetypes within the Bazaar decks, which I think is cool, and the Shops decks. So there's Hollowvine Bazaar, there's Dredge, there's Pitch Dredge, like the one that plays Kravikian Horror or whatever. It's just like literally all pitch cards. And people have actually kind of likened that to a Delver deck, which is interesting because it's a lot of permission. I think the lamest decks in Vintage are the Xerox like good stuff decks, where it's like I'm playing Deathrite, Oko, Ren and Six, and like Tarmogoyf. Like that's just like the really lame, or like in like Dreadhorde and stuff. How do I know so much about Vintage after only playing a few weeks? I read a lot, and I watched Justin Gennari, I'm level 1. He did a great breakdown of the core decks of Vintage on his channel. He posted on YouTube recently. I would look that up. I'm actually level 1 Vintage overview. I don't know what he calls it. It's like 2 hours long. I just listen to it at like double speed or whatever, and it does a really great overview of the playable decks of Vintage. And there's also like the Thalia, humans decks. There's Eldrazi, which are kind of like sort of like Shops variants, but they don't use Shop or Workshop. And then Workshops itself has Golos Shops, Ravager Shops, and Combo Shops. And Combo Shops is like main deck ley lines and like a Helm Kill, and also plays Depths a lot of the time with Mirage Mirror, along with Stage. And then there's Golos Shops, which is like more prison-y, more stacksy. And then there's Ravager Shops, which is like an aggro deck. So I think the like a lot of Legacy's diversity is kind of false in that the decks that are different are all playing the same like like they're quote unquote different, but they're like 10 cards different at most, you know, so like the difference between Snoko and uh Miracles is very small. You know, an actual, you know, the difference between the different Delver variants is very small. The difference between like the blue decks are very homogenous in Legacy, and they're like 60% of the format at this point. So um that's what makes Legacy repetitive. Yeah, stabilize before winning cards. Yeah, the thing about Snoko is, and even like this is true of Arcanist as well, is like it's a card that's really, they're both like Oko, Uro, and Arcanist are all the same type of cards where they will stabilize you because they are both threats and answers at the same time. And Oko does it the most because it's, Uro's not really an answer outside the fact that it like invalidates a lot of things just by being super powerful, but Oko will like remove text boxes from everything. Um uh and it gains life and it makes threats. So it does everything. Uro is like the best stabilization, but it's also the slowest, and then Arcanist is like kind of anything you want it to be. Because you can be casting. I'm losing my voice. You can be casting Brainstorm, Ponder, or you can be casting Lightning Bolt, or it can be a one-sided Wrath of God if you cast Blazing Volley twice. Would you even try to ban Brainstorm though? How would you, as a non-blue player, say it's correct? Both non-blue and blue. Just hate Veil Master Sleep. I wouldn't ban. Well, if I had total control of the ban list, I don't think I would ban Brainstorm, even though it is objectively ridiculous to have in the format. But I think people are so attached to it. I think you could ban Ponder. I'm actually a pretty big advocate for a Ponder ban, because density of cantrips really matters in the blue decks. I don't think people are like, well, you can't ban Ponder because why aren't you just banning Brainstorm? It's like, well, people want Brainstorm for format identity. I don't see why like a Lorwyn card gets that pass. Like, yeah, yeah. Steve and Rich Callie, one of the best Delver players, just posted an article on Channel Fireball talking about like updating your cantrip heuristics specifically with Brainstorm, and how like the format heavily incentivizes you to cast things as soon as possible with your cantrips. Like you're just trying to dig all the time. Because the games end as lockouts. Yeah, you could ban both Ponder and Preordain and just leave just Brainstorm. I think that would actually make the format much better. You might run into a problem where the combo decks get too good. But it's like not very hard to ban. Well, but like it'd be like the non-blue combo decks, I guess. So like what? Depths and Reanimator? Yeah, I mean if they're playing Impulse, that's totally fine. Or like Portent. Veil would have to go maybe, yeah, with if the blue decks. If the thing is, Legacy is if anyone knows the it's like that clip from The Simpsons where Mr. Burns goes to the doctor and they're like, we don't know how you're alive, and they're like, okay, here's your immune system. And it's just like all these viruses smacking into the door frame of, they're like, this is your immune system. All the viruses are crammed up against each other so tightly, there's so many of them that none of them can do anything. That's kind of what Legacy is. It's like, it has so many problems where if you remove one piece, things get really fucked up really fast. Yeah. I don't think Veil is actually that big a deal, to be honest. Like, Veil doesn't have the characteristics of a banned card in Legacy because it doesn't improve with itself, or the more it's played, the worse it gets. And it's kind of like Chalice, is like that too, where it's basically impossible for Chalice to ever get banned in Legacy because it only affects a portion of the format, and it's atrocious and in mirrors, right? In Chalice Mirrors. And with Veil, the more Veil decks that exist, the more people play decks and cards that don't care about Veil. And so people will be left with these horrible Veils in their main decks or whatever. And I think the Veil-based combo decks are pretty one-dimensional in the sense of they're really good at beating counterspells and pretty good at beating discard spells because of Veil, though there's some tension there. It's like if you use the Veil for the Thoughtseize or whatever, then you can get Force of Will unless you have another one. But they get like really weak to stuff like Mindbreak Trap, or they get much worse against like Chalice and Thorn. So I think Veil being good is more of a symptom of the problem than a problem. I think it is stupid that it stops Abrupt Decay. I think that's wrong. Like, I would prefer that was not the case. But, and like Red Elemental Blast, that doesn't make sense. It's templated badly. But I think it's a symptom of the problem more than an actual problem. I think the threats that are also answers, that are also stabilization elements, are the problematic cards, and that's Arcanist, Oko, and Uro. And I think Arcanist and Oko are the most problematic cards in the format overall. Arcanist probably being number one. But Oko's more format warping because Oko has obliterated the Chalice decks. And if Chalice was playable, if the Chalice decks were good, if like Eldrazi Stompy was good, or Moon Stompy, then I think Arcanist would get comparatively worse, because the reason that Arcanist gets away with being as good as it is because Chalice is so freaking bad. And that is because of Oko, right? Oko just invalidates Chalice decks, like the entire deck. So I think if you removed either of them, things would be better. If you remove just Arcanist, then Snoko probably just dominates the format, and you have to ban one of those cards. Whether it's Oko or Uro or Astrolabe. And I think Astrolabe should get like the Get Probe treatment of like, it's not like objectively too strong, it just does bad things to the format, and like the play patterns are really annoying because it's just like, oh, my opponent, they have Island, Forest, and they cast Abrupt Decay into Plow, like I mean, I think Oko is single-handedly responsible for the Chalice decks being bad. The only Chalice deck that is good is Mono Blue Echo, and that is like the Chalice deck that cares about Chalice the least. Its own Chalices, right? Chalice is like the weakest part of its plan. It's just gonna combo you. It's the only Chalice combo deck. Yeah, it's stuff like Back to Basics and 5-color decks I just think is like really heinous. Yeah, I think Arcanist and Oko are like the top of the list, and then if Uro is too good, still, because the part of the thing is like if you ban Oko, then I think there's a possibility that the Graveyard Hate stuff becomes good enough that Rug Delver doesn't play Abraded anymore. That's not true, Steve. I've run into plenty of people playing multiple Abrades. If they're not playing Abrade, they're playing Ancient Grudge or Return to Nature or Wilt. There's always some 2-mana Shatter. Because I think, and there was a period, Steve, actually, where you were right, where people stopped putting those cards in their Delver sideboards, and that's why I put Chalice back in the Goblin sideboard. Because Chalice is being extremely disrespected by the meta. And then I think there was an uptick a little bit in the Chalice decks. And then immediately I was like, I'm going to put 3 Shatters in my Delver sideboard. And it's just like, okay, that card's unplayable again. So what I was saying was the weakness of Uro. Like, people could play, if you didn't have Oko, then if there were just Snoko decks that were playing like 4 Sylvan Library for Uro, if you just surgicaled them, how would they win? They'd have to play like Jace. And Jace is really slow. Um, looking at lists neck deck like a week ago, and you weren't seeing Abrades. I've been running into a lot of Abrades. Maybe that's just me though. I'm not playing a ton of Legacy, so it could just be a small sample size kind of thing. Leagues are weird. People play random shit. What was I saying? Oh, so like if you remove Oko, then the value Graveyard Hate that is hard to play against Snoko because they have like one thing that cares about the graveyard a lot, and then they have nothing else that cares about the graveyard. But if they had to start playing like Snapcasters to, fill out the value curve, if they had to, rely more on the graveyard, then Relic or even like Surgical or Leyline would be really, really good. I feel like Surgical Emmy and DTT decks. Oh, like Omnitel. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. The point. Yeah. I get what you mean, Steve. So I think if you, I would be okay with them not immediately banning Uro, even though I absolutely hate the play patterns of the card. Absolutely hate them. I think if they removed Oko and Arcanist, there's a chance that the value Graveyard Hate would, and also stuff like Karakas. Like even as is, Karakas is so good against Uro in the long game. And also like if you play, if they banned Astrolabe, I think if they really banned Astrolabe and people had to contort their mana bases to play Uro, which I think is possible. It's not hard. But they wouldn't be able to play back to basics in those decks. They wouldn't be able to play Blood Moon. In fact, Blood Moon would be really good against them, right? So that would add another element of counterplay. I think that's what's lacking. So like, there's very little. There's tactical counterplay, but there's very little strategic counterplay to the Snoko decks. I think. Maybe I don't know if that's true actually. On like if you're talking about on a deck building level, that's true. If you're talking about jumping from deck to deck, that it's not true. So like the way to, yeah. Yeah. I like Uro is really obscene. It really is. But then on the other hand, if you banned Uro and Arcanist and there was just Oko, then I think that would also make Snoko fine in the format. Because like before Ur was printed, I was remembering having very little trouble beating Snoko just with a pile of Elemental Blasts. Like if you countered 3 Okos and killed their Jace or whatever, they had a really hard time winning. Like really, really hard time winning. They were just too threat light to win a lot of the time. And like they could play like a Leovold for additional threats or whatever, but like nothing that exciting. So Uro getting that kind of like permanent inevitability in a lot of cases is what makes Snoko not just fall over to people just holding counters for the threats. So I think that's another option. But I think you really do need to ban Dreadhorde cards going into it. People are playing Dreadhorde Infect, people playing Dreadhorde and Doomsday. That's just silly. Like that card doesn't belong in those decks, but it's so powerful that it doesn't matter. And that's the thing. That's what makes Legacy frustrating, is that there are cards that are so good that it doesn't really matter what your game plan is with them. It's just that they're in your deck and they are game plans unto themselves. They're game plans, without having to build around them. As long as you're just like, oh, I'm a cantrip shell. Like, cool. I'll play an extra preordain. Ooh. I'll play 7 or 8 cantrips instead of, or I'll play 9 cantrips instead of 8. Ooh. So I think it's really making the format much more narrow. So I would be a fan of multiple bans in Legacy, and I really hope they do something, because the format's getting real stale. It's like every week it's just like Rug Delver or Snoko wins something. Every 3 weeks, a combo deck sneaks in and wins. Yeah, they're very format warping. Like Oko obliterates the Chalice decks, totally warps how people play. Like it killed like blue white miracles because they don't have great answers to planeswalkers. Killed Stoneblade. Um, the Stoneblade was already kind of weaker because of Plague Engineer. And then Dreadhorde invalidates all the 2 toughness kill spells. Like Punishing Fire is so much worse than it used to be. I want to play like Bone Crusher Giant, but I can't. I want to play Tar Fire, but I have to play Lightning Bolt. There are plenty of cards that people would want to play, but they can't because of Dreadhorde. Because you have to have a cheap 3 toughness killer that is hard to daze. So it has to be like 1 mana. Like it's like literally the card Lightning Bolt. It's like Pyrokinesis can do it too, but then you're 2-for-1ing yourself. So like Lightning Bolt, Fatal Push, Plow are like you really have to play those 1 mana removal spells to not get just like Abrupt Decay works too, but then there's Veil. So just Arcanist massively warps how people play removal. Like Cloud Post is playing Spatial Contortion. Like in like main decks. What does that say? What does that say about the format deck? That Cloud Post is playing Spatial Contortion in the main deck. Like that's just like a clear indicator to me. All right, enough ranting. I'm gonna go eat dinner. I'm starving. I appreciate y'all hanging out. Jigglehops. Is that a pun on the card? Jigglehops? If so, that's great. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. Thanks for watching. Yeah, Grasping Dunes and Lance. Like, that is a terrible card. People gotta play cards that beat Dreadhorde Arcanist. Like, that's exactly the kind of shit I'm talking about. So extremely form warping. Okay, so what are we... Who am I hosting? Daniel's playing Storm. Just playing against Goblins. I guess this match is probably over. Doomsday. More Vintage. Base Drag. Good night. Guys, what do you guys want to see? I guess I'll send it over to Justin since we just did Vintage. All right. Catch y'all later. Good time. I'll see you on Tuesday, probably. All right. See you guys.